I'm sure you all go to restaurants, and I'm sure that you're a good tipper. I know I am a good tipper. I'm a generous tipper because I value the work of waitresses, how hard they work, how much they walk around and try to please you. So I'm a generous tipper. So does everybody know what tip stands for? Thank in person. Today I'm going to try to show you quickly calculate tip in your head. Okay. All right. So let's say you go to a restaurant and your bill is $21. Okay. And let's say you're supposed to pay 10% tip. Okay. 10% tip. So basically, 10% is basically multiplying this 21 with 0.1. Okay. So now one thing I like to mention is that 21 has an implicit decimal. Okay. And then it has a 0. Okay. So 10%, all you do is that you shift this decimal 1 to the left. So then your tip would be $2.10. So how's that? Quickly, right? Another one. Let's say your bill is, you go to the restaurant and your bill is $41.75 and you're supposed to pay 10% tip. How would you do that? Same philosophy, 0.1. Okay, what you do is that you shift the decimal towards 1 towards the left. So then this becomes, the tip becomes $4.175. And then basically what you do is you can round this up to, like, I don't know, maybe 20 cents. So then the tip would be $4.20. Okay. All right. Now let's say if you want to tip, if you feel like, you've been served really good and the waiter or the waitresses did their job to your satisfaction and you want to tip them 20%. Okay. So how would you do that? 20% tip. Let's say let's say your bill is $20. Okay. $20 bill. So the way I would do it, I would basically take the 10% of this 20 because it's easier to do that in your head and then just multiply it by 2. So the 10% of this right away I know is $2. Why? Because remember I told you 0.1, you shift decimal 1 to the left. So $2 and then 20%, which means another 10% will give me another $2. So then the tip would be $4. So how's that? Pretty neat, pretty smooth, quick and easy. All right, now let's say get into a little bit of real life situation, where you have to pay tip 15%. I know it used to be 15%, now it's up to 18%. And pretty much, when you get a check from waiter or waitresses, it has different options. You want to pay $18, 18%, you want to pay 20%, 21%, and so forth. Let's say you want to tip 15%, right? And let's say your bill is $40. So how would you do that? How would you calculate that in your head? What I would do is that in my head, I would calculate the 10% of the tip. So I know 10% of this tip right away in my head is $4. Okay? Because remember, we are shifting, this is decimal, so we're shifting decimal 1 to the left. So the tip is $4. Now 15% is the tip. Okay. So then you got to calculate 5%. Okay. 5%, which would be 5% tip, which would be half of this $4 because 10% is $4. 5% tip would be $2. So then you have $2. Then you can say your tip is $6. So how's that? You can do it in your head, okay? It will keep your mind sharp also, as well as, you can just do it in your head. So let's say you want to do tip 15% and your bill is $30. So how would you tip that? Well, same philosophy. 10% of 30 in my head. 10% right away I can think is $3. Okay? And then 5%, I know it's going to be half of $3. So 5% is going to be half of this, 150. So then the total tip is 450. All right. So next time when you go to a restaurant, try doing this in your head. Try doing this mental math and see how does that work out. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like it. And I hope when you go to a restaurant, you're generous enough uh, and tip generally to the hardworking waiters, waitresses, and the restaurant staff. Take care of yourself. Till next time.